I decided to pick the pen back up. The one I put down when people said that I was a throwaway, I was no good, that nobody wanted me, I picked it back up later. I made an even more powerful story with it. It wasn't done, it's never done. As long as you're still living and breathing, you got air in your lungs, you got your heart beating, your brain working, it's not over. It's not over to it. In that casket. Resilience, survival, because surviving and then thriving.
You need to go join my school community, Second Chance Success Village. Again, that is Second Chance Success Village. I'm dropping jewels every day from how I came from zero to building $1 million nonprofit organization, consulting individuals, helping people make the change that they want to do. There's classrooms in there, there's school teaching lessons in there where I'm talking about how to build curriculum from scratch, right? It's not as tedious as you think. I'm talking about how to best put yourself in position for funding, giving grant tips. I'm about to start bringing people on that are in the marketing piece, especially for social impact. These are people that have been well versed in what you're going for. I'm telling you right now, if you want to be with like-minded individuals, leaders, people that are trying to position themselves in their lives to lead a legacy, go right now and join my school community. And those for you on Instagram that are seeing this later, go click my link in the bio, go to my school, Second Chance Success Village. Let's get it popping. I see you there. Come on. Now, I'm gonna do something a little bit different today, right? I wanna teach a couple principles that's actually in one of my books I wrote, right? The reason why is because I don't feel like this book got enough love that I wanted to do. I didn't do enough with it. I'm gonna dive a little bit into that, right? It took me like 2 years to actually write it just because the position that I was in, where I was at the time, mentally, emotionally, physically, right? I wasn't in my best shape. I was at a peak in an external view, but internally I was down, man, and it wasn't all that good. But I was able to get contracts on it. I was able to teach young folks, youth and young adults, how to turn their pain and passion and profit to things like that. So I'm gonna teach it from a few elements in this book, right? I still have copies. If you're looking for a copy, that you join my Second Chance Success Village my Second Chance Success Village classroom, I'll you know what? I'll give you 50% off the copy, man. I'll deliver it to you and send it to you. You know what I mean? But it's a dope book. It's all about how to turn your pain, your passion, and profits. It's everything about where you started off. It could be anything, man. You was probably in and out. I was using one of my examples. You was probably in and out of juvenile jail, or you was strung out on drugs, or whatever the case. That was your pain point. But there was something there that got you to that point. And I'm teaching you how to look at that pain point, flip it over, and find the passion, how you can help somebody heal and become better, and then potentially get a profit out of it. That's what this book is all about, man. So we're gonna be tapping in this book, all right? It's gonna be tapping in this book, all right? And we're gonna be seeing what's up. Oh, what's up, ladies on 6? Hey, good to see you the other week in Cancun. Yeah, what's up, man? We was out in Cancun. Man, it was lit out there, man. It was my birthday. You know, we need those resets in life, those resets in time, man. But let's kick it in, man. We're gonna kick it into this again. Prolific hustle. Turn your pain to passion and profits. And probably if you DM me right now, I can get it to you for like 50%. If you go join the Second Chance Success Village, show me you joined it, right? But this book was something that probably my third or fourth book that I put together because I wanted to open up a little more about me and who I was, and I wanted to let people know like how I was able to transition my hurt and my pain and my inner turmoil and turn that into something I use to heal other people and help other people and turn that into a profit for myself, right? So one thing I want to tap in, right? It was a point. It's called. Forgive me, hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. All these pages. It was called Bye Bye Nanny, right? It's called Bye Bye Nanny. So those of you who don't know me, may not know me personally, Nanny is a solid individual in my life. Nanny is what I call my grandmother. My grandmother was the one that raised me, right, up until I was about 14, and she ended up going back to prison. But she was the one that instilled a lot of principles in me. She instilled a lot of morals. She gave me a lot of manners and taught me a lot, man. straight from the South, brought me out here from Texas when I was real little. But she was a pillar in my life, right? And for a long time in my life, I couldn't see myself without her. I couldn't see myself without her. I felt like, you know what, this is gonna be somebody that's in my life forever and ever and ever. But what eventually happened is one day when I was coming home from school, she ended up being rearrested, and that's something you can get into. We can get into another story, and going back to prison, and I lost the most stable thing in my life, right? And what that did was it kicked something in me, right? It gave me a real life thing where I had to really realize that, look, you don't, just because you have this situation or this person at this moment, don't mean you're going to have this situation or this person later on. These things can be stripped from you. So it's on you, it's the onus is on you to appreciate where you are right now, what you have right now, what you have going on, and make sure that you utilize every moment and every memory with that thing, person, opportunity, because it can leave at any point in time, right? So I called it Bye Bye Nanny, and I said all those may have made the top 3 of the most painful moments of my existence. It conditioned me to have the skill to create some of the best joy in my later life. Talking about when she was arrested and sent off to prison, right? The crazy part is when I think about it in depth to this day, I tear up. I don't control it. I will start crying. Yet the same pent up hurt and anger from that situation fuels me, right? When I'm pursuing endeavors where I need energy to keep going after a long strenuous day of meetings and engagements, I pull from this source. The most painful time in my life was when my grandma left me and I didn't know if she was ever going to come back, right? So the reason why it hurt me so bad was because I didn't know how to do much outside of hitting the streets without her. I didn't know, I wasn't very resourceful because the things that I needed, even though we was in poverty, she was able to provide, right? There was food there to the degree that we could have it. We hit the food bank often, so we got that, right? She got my hair done, you know what I mean? I think I had like a $60 budget for clothes a month or something like that. It wasn't a lot, but she did that, you know, when she could. Sometimes I got a couple hundred for a few months. She did what she could, right? So I wasn't used to having to go do too much. Now, I've always been a person that was more independent because I know I wanted more, right? So I would go sell candy. At one point I was selling weed. I was doing all kinds of stuff, right? But she was my primary source of dependence, right? And so when she was snatched away from me, I was forced to go and find another way to make it happen. I had to kick up whatever hustles I could. I had to sit there and dive into my skill set and say, what am I able to do? See, now that's the beautiful thing. This is the pain portion of it, right? Some of you guys may be in a position. You may be in a position where you may have lost your job, right? You may have lost your job. You may have lost your wife, your husband. You may have lost your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You know what I mean? You may have lost something that you thought that you wouldn't have to go without. At least not at that moment in time. And it probably was stripped from you without even noticing it, right? Already it's going to happen. I hope not, but it could, right? The beautiful thing about that is it actually gives you the opportunity to find out the inner strength and inner skills that you have yourself. The thing is, right, is you don't want to waddle on it too much. Of course, give yourself a moment to feel whatever it was taken from you. I mean, especially if it's a source of income or a person that you love dearly, whatever the case. But you got to find that little piece in there that's that opening, right? Like I talk about that seed of opportunity oftentimes. Because there's an opening. There's usually some kind of opening that you're not seeing. And at the time you couldn't see it because you were so blessed to have, and you were so appreciative to have, and you was able to have. So when you have not at that moment, now you got to see what else can you get, right? And so there's a quote I always say, right? Every closed door leads to an open. Again, every closed door leads to an open one. And I'm gonna tell you this, man. And I want you to look back. I want you to look at it because you're living right now. I guarantee you this is true for you. I guarantee you this is true for you. Think about every time you lost something, some kind of opportunity, some kind of person, whatever the case, or something that you thought is over. Tell me right now that each time that you thugged it out, you didn't get something better. You didn't arrive at some kind of better place. You didn't arrive with somebody that was better. You didn't arrive with something better. Some of you guys that lost toxic relationships and ended up not forget finding somebody else, right? But finding yourself. Listen, man. Some of you guys that messed up, like left some toxic relationship or lost somebody that was toxic, right? And you was hurting, boo boo and it wasn't the case. I've been there, trust me. You know what I'm saying? But ended up finding yourself. And now you're looking like, damn, oh, thank God, okay, I'm kind of popping, right? You done learn to love in yourself. You done learn to take yourself to different places. You done learn to take yourself to different heights. All kind of new opportunities to spawn that came up around you, right? But that was because that thing was taken away from you, right? Every closed door leads to the open one if you keep searching. So for me at that time, when my grandma left, it was hurt. I felt like I was shaking up, and honestly, I dove further into the streets than I thought I ever would at that point in time. But it taught me resourcefulness, right? My hustle kicked up. My hustle kicked up 100% because I was like, bro, I can't be out here with nothing. My independence kicked in. I was like, man, I don't got a sole provider for all this stuff no more, so I got to figure this thing out. These are all the different things that I was able to take from one of the most painful points in my existence. Now, to take you through the pain, the passion, and profit piece, right? Later down the road, although I couldn't see it, I'm gonna say later down the road, although I could, because you're never gonna see it. When you're in that pain point, when you're in that muck, when you're in that problem, when you're in that trash, when you're hurting, when you're down, when you're looking like giving up, when you're ready to kill yourself, when you're ready to jump off the bridge, when you're ready to this, when you're ready for that, when you're ready and you're done, you're not able to see all that. You're not gonna be able to see all that, right? Hindsight's 20/20, and it's like, and this journey is like being in a car with headlights in a dark road, bro. You can only see a certain amount of feet in front of you, but you know, like, okay, if I keep going straight, I'm gonna go somewhere, right? So when I look back, I'm like, oh shoot, the things that I do now, well, now I'm not as much as in a mentor space with the youth and young adults. I still got my young people. I still mentor and pop it, but now there's staff that do that, and I'm doing more of the like this leadership piece in mentoring leaders and consulting people starting their business. But when I look at my trajectory in the mentorship and the outreach spaces I was always in, right? That point in time, I was able to relate to so many of these young men and women because I'm like, dang, I done felt that pain before. I done lost somebody I thought I would never be able to live without. And I made it through. And not only did I make it through, I can show you how you can make it through as well. And I can assist you and I can help you. I can't force you, but I can help you. But I wouldn't have been able to do that had I have not been through that. Right? But I didn't see it at that point. Again, it's like headlights. You only see a few feet. I would have never known that I would have been sitting here to this day speaking about it, and in the past days helping somebody else come and transition out of it from losing somebody like that or losing their stability, right? And it also built, another thing it built in me was it built a form of adaptability, right? I was like, dang, I don't got all this no more, but I can figure it out. Now there's really things that can take me out because I've been in the worst situation ever, and now I'm able to convey that to other individuals. So I was able to turn my pain into passion, right? That same thing when I used to get upset and I was hurt, and what we don't understand is oftentimes our behaviors that exhibit like violence or some kind of we hurt others or do whatever unto people that's not good or okay or that is harmful, right? It's that we're hurting inside. There's pain inside, right? And there's some kind of fire. For me, I'm a real passionate person, but I was the same way in the streets. I was passionate about what I was standing on, right? There was a fire in me about that. But I was able to transition that fire into good, right? And I was able to take that fire and put it and make it into a passion about helping other people come out of things. Right? And I was able to transition that passion in various forms. So what it is, right? It's whatever that you could be feeling right now, or you went through, but you haven't really addressed. You can sit back and figure out how you can take that piece of that pain and turn that into something that could be a fire that can help somebody else that's flame's been put out. Again, you could take that flame and use that fire to ignite somebody else whose flames have been put out. You just gotta follow it around, right? And I thank God every day that I'm able to do that now, because some people, man, they flame burn them up. They get encompassed by the flame. Some people, their flame burns them up, man. They don't get a chance to turn that flame into passion, as I did, right? So I took that pain point of my grandma going back to prison, and me losing every sense of stability I ever had, and me getting evicted and coming back home with nothing but all my stuff in the front, and me not knowing how to get anything outside of this, and me not and all this other stuff, right? But then I took that and used it to help youth and young adults and other people go through that and turn that into something that they can help other people out and be resilient and be adjustable and find other things, right? And then I was like, hold on, man, wait a minute. Let's see here. I was able to start a nonprofit out of it, right? And it wasn't about, it never was about getting some money out of it initially, right? It was never about getting some money out of it, bro. I didn't even want to do it. I was convinced to go. People was like, do it, bro. You should do this. You put the book out there, just put it. And I'm like, bro, I don't really feel like doing that, man. I want to do this. But my heart was always there. And like I said in my last speech with FCCLA, big shout out to everybody over there, man. Like when you have a purpose, man, it reveals itself in small moments. You might not even notice it at the moment, but if you're quiet enough, you pay enough attention, it'll reveal itself to you. But you gotta be quiet, you gotta silence all the noise, right? And it's gonna the purpose is gonna reveal itself. So the purpose revealed itself to me, right? And I was able to put myself in positions to where I was able to develop an income off of the shit I went through years ago. Hallelujah, bro. Like, you feel me? Off the shit I went through years ago, I was able to take that, make it a passion to help other people, and while doing it, didn't even know I made an income off of it, man. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Again, I'm gonna take a pause right now. If anybody leaders and change makers, man, make sure you click on that link in that bio, man, and join the community for leaders and change makers. People want to create their programs, people that are looking to create these organizations and things like that, and turn their pain and passion and profits and go make an impact on the world and have a legacy. That's what I did. So that's the first piece of the pain and passion and profits. About started at the pain, right? That's some of the things that I was able to teach in the juvenile and bring to them. And that title was called Bye Bye Nanny. For those of you guys who just came on, today I'm teaching out of the book. I'm going live. You guys are watching the live podcast right now, right? I'm at the Heyday Studios right now doing a podcast live. I just want to show you guys what everything's going on, man. So as we move forward, let me get over here to the passion part, right? I'm gonna give you guys some game out of each piece of it, and then we're gonna dive in to other parts later and just really go in there. Give me 1 second. Yeah, let's go right here. So this is the piece right here. It's called the mirror moment, right? It's the mirror moment, and this is the point where I really only share this piece. I really only share this piece often when I'm doing a speaking engagement, right? Because it's really personal to me, and sometimes I tear up. But also, it's something that it's kind of a deeper story, deeper sense. But I'm gonna give it to you guys today because I believe you guys deserve it, right? It's called the mirror moment, right? And I'll get a skip from it and tell you guys that I'm gonna bust it down for you guys. So it's like one thing I learned over my many years of mistakes is that you can obtain wisdom from anyone or anything if your mind is open to it. What that means, you must be in receiving mode to do so mentally. That mode is when the ego and pride are pushed aside to gain new information and put into play. Someone who has taught me many things over the minute amount of time they've been on this earth is my first child in my life. She's a special child. You know, she creates profound concepts that challenge her reality, right? And I wouldn't be giving her credit if it's not due. I'm going to break down the story that made me really say that about my first daughter, right? I remember I was sitting in the jail. I was still facing a life sentence. I still, the only deal they had on the table was 25 years, right? 22 years old. The only deal they had was 25 years, or I go to trial, lose, and get 140 plus years. So my daughter's mom comes in there with my newborn son. My son was born a month after I went into jail. She comes in there. My daughter was 3 years old. And so we're just having a good time. Then she started talking to me, right, mind you, as much time we have with glass, behind the glass, right? And my daughter goes, "Dad, when are you coming home?" And I was like, "Man, I don't really know when I'm coming home, but I'll be home." So she goes, "Is it going to be Monday?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Is it going to be Tuesday?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Wednesday?" I was like, "No." "Thursday?" "No." So she went all the way back until Monday, actually, right? And I had to do the thing, Dad, with her, the patience and listen and answer those different things, right? But finally, I was like, baby, I don't know when I'm gonna come home, because I didn't, but I'm gonna be home one day. And she paused for a minute, looked away, and then she said, well, Dad, you've been to jail before, right? Because I just went to prison, right? I got out when I was almost 21, and I went back again at 22 like an idiot, right? And I was like, yeah, you know that, what's up? And she said, well, what makes you think that if you get out again, you won't go right back to jail? And that was a 3-year-old asking me this question, right? My first daughter, and I was like, damn, I don't even know what I can answer how I can answer this little girl, because I've done it. I've been in juvenile, got out, went back to juvenile. Been in juvenile, read the Bible, got out, went back to juvenile. Got out, read the Bible, prayed to God, went back to juvenile. Went in and over and over till I landed here facing the rest of my life. And so the important things about people that challenge your paradigm, right, is that it's a forever gift. And having those people around you forces you to consistently level up. That's why you always want to be around individuals that challenge you, your way of thinking, the way you're going, not in a negative way, but people that are going to be like, hey, have you thought about this? Or why do you do that? Or why do you think like that? Or why do you have that perspective on life? You need those people around you, because those are the only people that are going to help you go to the next level. You don't want a bunch of people around you to say yeah. So when I went back to my cell, I'm like, well, how do I know I'm not going to go back, right? Well, this is the only life I've known for years now. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the only life I've known for years now. So, and not saying I was off the porch for years since I was 8, 9, 9. I wasn't like that, bro. You know what I mean? But everybody in my environment were off that. So it's the only life I know. So how did I know I was going to go home and go back to the life I know, go right back to the hood and kick it with the same hood niggas, go do the same thing, pop a bottle, party, and turn up? I didn't know, right? So the only thing that I was able to do then was be like, well, how could I change that, right? See, some of you guys, you need to ask yourself, how can you change it? You need to ask yourself, how can you change it? You need to attack your belief system. You need to go and see why you believe what it is that you believe and attack it head first. Because I was thinking, I'm like, how can I change that? That's going to be the start of your transition. That's going to be the start of your level up. That's going to be the start of you going to the next piece of this journey, right? So when I went back and I'm like, how can I change that? I'm like, well, what would I want to change it to? I want to change it to something better than this, something more in life. Well, okay, if I want to change it to something more in life, then is there even more to life than this? Well, after I started looking at it and reading and seeing the little stuff, and I'm like, there is more to life than this. I see on the commercials, there's people surfing and traveling and doing. I hadn't been nowhere but to Vegas and Cali. I mean, since I was a little kid coming from the South, but I ain't been nowhere. So I'm like, is there any more? Is there more to life than this? And then the thing about it, right, when you say, is there more to life than this? The next year, you're like, okay, if there is more to life than this, then how do I go for it? That's your next question is, if I can change this, how do I do it? Right? And even that, let's backpedal and add a little sit in there, right? It's like, why should I do it? I have my daughter right here that feels like I can't even get out and be a productive civilian, right? And that's who I'm supposed to be stewarding in this life, at least for an amount of time. My son too. So it's like, my why was there. Oh, I gotta show this. I gotta show I could do something, right? So your why is gonna be bigger than your how. But then when you start asking these questions, you're gonna start searching for the answers. So I started diving into things like, okay, how do I make this change? What do I look for? I'm reading books, reading self-help books. I'm challenging every thought, every belief that I thought I had. Like, why do I think it's okay for me to go and if dude make me mad to fire off on him or to shoot him? Like, why do I think that's a cool thing to do, right? Why do I think it's okay to go get it popping at a club and shoot the club up or shoot somebody in the club? You know what I'm saying? It's because I felt like he was from the opposite city I was from, right? Why did I think it was okay to just go around and just totally show no kind of mercy or no remorse for any rules and obligations that the majority of the world is living under, right? Like, don't get me wrong, you want to be somebody that challenges certain things in a good way, but Why do I think that was okay? I had to sit back and dive in like it wasn't, bro. This was something that was placed on me, bro. You know what? I'm gonna add on to that in a second. So I was reading this book. I'm gonna go to the side of this one, right? I was reading this book called Self-Mastery, right? And it talks about domestication, self-domestication, and attachments. Domestication, self-domestication, and attachments, right? And how we're domesticated by the environment we come up in, like that's your mom, dad, grandma, uncle, brother, whatever the case, and the place you're living in these concepts that are constantly poured into you, right? So you're domesticated by these things. So that's what you're traditionally taught, right? And when you move to the next level, even as you get older and start moving away from people who are just your mom, dad, grandma, whoever has that most influence on you, right? Then what starts to happen is you begin to self-domesticate. You start to domesticate yourself, which means you begin to now start telling yourself that, to reminding yourself to do that, right? Even though the whole choice wasn't yours from the beginning, because people told you that's what you were supposed to do when your little mind was the most valuable. So now you go from people putting these ideas, concepts, and belief systems in your head on their own to you reinforcing them yourself, and you're likely around other people that are reinforcing them because they was put into them, right? And then you make these attachments to these belief systems, these attachments to these ways of being, these attachments to these habits, and they start solidifying within you, right? The way that I use the analogy, I was like, it's like somebody bringing a jacket to you, and it really don't fit you, but they put it on you anyway. You see everybody else around you got the similar jacket, and you're like, this don't really fit me. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And as you grow a little bit, you start growing into it a little bit, but you're like, this really don't even fit me, right? But then over time, you're like, wait, his is a little bigger, hers is a little bigger, theirs is a little bigger. Well, that's how it's supposed to be, so it does fit me. This is what the concept of fitting means. And then you attach to everything that the people around you wearing that same jacket do. And that's the way that I looked at my life at that time. I'm like, bro, people over here are saying this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to get down for where you're from. You're supposed to get down where you at. You're supposed to not let nobody disrespect you in no kind of way. You're supposed to not do this, and then you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to go after this, and this is what cool means. This is what dope means. I remember going to the juvenile, going over to the juvenile, going to the box, bro. That was lit. Like, bro, just come home from the juvie and be like, bro, how was it, bro? Like, man, you go out there with your chest all poked out, man. You go to the penitentiary. I remember my first time going to the penitentiary at 19, hitting the big yard. I'm like, I was the guy, right? But that's the stuff that was promoted, right? So then I'm like, okay, this is what it is. So I start telling myself it's good if I get cooked, I get booked, whatever the case. Let me go find something that's gonna ride for me and lock me down. You might have a different experience. It don't gotta be the streets, right? It can be something domesticating you to say you have to take this particular path as a career. You gotta go to these particular schools. There's no business owners in our family. There's no graduates in our family. There's no people outside of this in our family. So you gotta do this. So then you got older and you're telling yourself you gotta do this. You don't add up to anything but this. So now you're attached to these certain belief systems. So at the end of the day, you're not even making a choice. It wasn't even you. It was them. Right? And so that's the things you have to attack. Those are things I attack within myself. What are the stuff that were put into me against my own choosing? Right? What are the things that I necessarily didn't have no idea of, and people said, this is the idea you should have? Well, what were those? What are they? I have to attack all those different things, right? It's hard, bro. The deconstruction piece is difficult, but it can happen. You got to deconstruct all those different things, right? So that you can reconstruct it. You can construct it. What that means is you take all that shit out, strip that bare bones, strip it to you was who you are, who you want to be, right? And then you reconstruct with the person you want to be. And then from there, you can build on top of that. But that's where it came from in that point. And I was like, man, I got my daughter asking me those questions, and I felt like, bro, I got to make this happen. I got to figure it out. Now I got to deconstruct myself to figure out what I need to reconstruct and build on. And that was that point of passion. For anybody who jumped on later, man, I'm teaching live for my podcast, HSS podcast, about how to turn your pain into passion and profits. In the comments, if you're looking to be a leader or change maker, start a social program or a social org, go there, click on it, join the community. And if you want to get a copy of the book, show me that you joined the community, and I got you. What I'll do is I'll send you the book for half off. All right. We're about to switch over to the profit piece. All right. The passing the profits piece. Give me 1 second, y'all. So I'm gonna start right here for you guys. Passion and profits. I'm gonna give us a couple. We're gonna read this whole page and whatnot. We're gonna skim over a couple paragraphs and we'll bust it down for you, right? So look, this may be the part that most people are waiting to get to, or maybe even skipped over from the beginning. Anytime you put money in a situation, everybody wants to hop into a speedboat, zoom through the wave, and get to the bag, right? The young people often told it's important to pace yourself because if you missteps, you'll missteps. I always tell my young folks in my partners, you want to pace yourself because if you miss steps, you will miss steps, right? And so, what I was able to do, right? I want to tell you this. What I was able to do is put myself in position. 9/10 of the game is position. There's a part in the thing where Max Mar said, 9/10 of the law, my nigga, is possession. 9/10 of the game is position. Is you listening? So we're on the profit pieces, turning pain to passion and profits. It's going to be about your positioning, man. And why they say that 9/10 of the game is positioning is because it's how you position yourself to meet the right people, to get in the right spaces, to get the bag, right? If you don't have the right positioning in your life, you're not positioning yourself in the right places, then you're not going to get to the bag as fast enough, right? So when you look at it, put it in layman terms. Say you're trying to make 6 figures, right? Say you're trying to make 100 bands. Say you're trying to make 100 bands. I'm not trying in the fast way. I'm talking about you want to make 100,000. Whether it's in a career route or you're a salesperson, you want to hit 100,000 shares as a salesperson. You might be a consultant, whatever the case may be. You want to hit $100,000 this year, right? So one thing, if you've been following me, you know I push network. I'm always about have your vision, build your network, and know how to communicate that so people can get you where you want to get to. Well, the next part of that is if you're looking to build your network, you want to communicate that with somebody, you got to go find people that are making more than the $100,000 you're trying to make so you can get to it. I mean, selling with somebody making $100,000 with it, then that's cool. But you're going to have to go find somebody that's making 2, 3, 4, 500,000, $1 million already so I can give it to you in the layman terms, right? So when I talk about positioning yourself, there's certain places you're not going to go find these individuals at. You're not going to go find the people making $300,000, $400,000 oftentimes. Every once in a while you might. You're not going to go find them in a ring-dinky little club. You don't even got to pay $5 to get in. You could come in there in the baggy sweats with holes in it and a shirt in and looking all messy and smelling all musty. You ain't getting top dollar there, bro. That's not putting yourself in position to get 100,000 or plus more. Because ain't nobody in there most of the time. Ain't nobody in there gonna be making that much money, right? That's not to judge, bro. I mean, I done been to the ratchet places. I done liked them a little bit. You might see me step over here with it, but you won't see it dominant, bro. It won't be often. But that's the truth, right? If you're looking to make that much money, you gotta go surround yourself around places that people they're gonna help you get that much money. That means you might gotta take yourself out to eat somewhere. It's gonna cost you a little bit. You can't wear jeans in, right? You might gotta go spend a couple bucks, a couple $100 a month to go join a social club, right? You putting yourself in position. You might gotta go follow certain pages, comment on these pages, interact with these individuals, send different messages in code, so you can put yourself in these positions, right? One of the things that I did when I was building my organization, right, and I'm teaching this in my school community, like I said, link in bio, is when I was doing outreach, I put myself in leadership positions. I went and surrounded myself with people who was doing leadership, people that had certificates, people that are executive directors. I was always around them, right? And anytime an opportunity came, I'm like, oh yeah, let me take this. I got it. Let me lead this. Let me lead this team. One, I was gaining practice. Two, I was putting myself in a position where people see me as a leader. So now when I go amongst the other leaders and people vouch for me, oh yeah, he's building. And this before I was even in a leader position. I was still in the outreach, right? But the people over there were top leaders, so they was telling people that I was already leading. Just because I was putting myself in a position, I wasn't even getting a leader salary, right? So I put myself in those positions, and then I started putting myself in positions with people that can help me. helped me get to the point where I could start my organization, right? Helped me figure out how to go through it. Exactly what I built the school community for. That's putting yourself in a position to join the community. Because you're putting yourself around people that are like-minded and myself that can help you, right? So I started putting myself around people that could build businesses. Let's build businesses. Going out to lunch, dinner, grabbing coffee, etc., etc. And it started working for me. It started really working for me. And by putting myself in those positions, I was then able to go ahead and become part of groups that were having these private sessions, right? Then that's how I went for the funding. I started going to parties where funders were. See, it outside looking in, it might seem difficult. If someone say go do this, it might seem difficult, right? I mean, there's a guide can give you the direction. Sometimes it can give you the directions, right? I'm giving up both, but I was given the direction. Go to these parties. I'm gonna figure it out. Like this, I'm watching the same man. Hey, look, I'm from around the way. I don't even know something, but that's what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go around the funders. Bad. What's the best way to talk to them? I'm gonna sit there and just talk about your journey. What's the best way to go after grants? What's the best way to do this, man? Y'all don't. As of today, I've garnered for a few different organizations, right? I've been able to raise up to almost 2 million, right? My goal is to hit 2 million. At the end, now I'm not a millionaire, right? But my goal is to hit 2 million from 4 different organizations in grant funding, right, or private funding. So, but the way I was able to do that, because I put myself around funders and learned their language. I got to know them. Getting to know them, like, okay, bet. There might be a time where I might be out and be like, hey, look, hey, this money's coming out, man. Prepare yourself for it. Look around. Put yourself in these positions. It all comes back to position. So when you look at, excuse me, what it is that you want to do and how you want to serve it and where you want to take your org to, your program to, your life to, you got to make sure that you're putting yourself in the proper position to make it happen. Go stand in the way of the opportunity. That's all luck is. Luck is just when preparation meets opportunity. Luck is just when preparation meets opportunity. That means that I prepared for the thing that's came to me now. I was prepared for it. What does that mean? I was studying. I was doing that. Now I'm going to give you guys one more example before we touch down. I got another engagement to go to, right? I just want to get on here and give some good game. Shout out to Heyday Studios. So some of you guys might know, big shout out to College and I'm Down. I'm the ambassador enrollment, one of the ambassador enrollment for in Washington State, right? I'm going to college for organizational leadership and social change. I just enrolled into my master's program, waiting for the thing. I got to interview with them, you know, for leadership psychology, for organizational leadership psychology, right? What that means is you can understand the psychology behind systems, how to build systems, how to help teams have a higher impact, how to consult executives, and from a psychological standpoint. And then my goal is to get my doctorates in organizational and leadership psychology, right? And this is where I'm taking it way past just nonprofits. I'm gonna take this to corporations and big IBMs and whatnot. But what I've been doing to position myself, right? I've been following every single organizational leader I could find, every leadership psychologist I could find, every org. I went and subscribed to the Wall Street Journal. Went and subscribed to the magazine every month, studying it, right? I'm Googling ChatGPT and I'm looking at everything. I'm talking, I'm practicing, right? I'm looking at YouTubes. I'm looking at how much they make. How do they make it? I'm going, how do they appear? How do they do this? Now I'm starting to find out the private events they be going to and conferences. I'm going to those, flying out, going, right? Because I'm positioning myself right now, right? Some of you guys, man, I'm about to start talking right now, man. Hold on, a couple more minutes to this, bro. Some of you guys have everything you need to get to where you need to get to. It's just you're not working on positioning yourself in the correct way. You're okay with staying around Tom, Dick, and Harry. You've been around forever because you know them for so long. You don't want to leave them, and so now you got to go everywhere that they go all the time. You got to watch what they do. It might even be your spouse. You got to watch what they watch and be what they own and all this stuff. And so you're not having time to position yourself in a popular place, but you got everything that you need to do it. All you got to do is put yourself in position. So what would it look like if you was to be like, you know what, I'm cool off of that, I'm cool off of you, I'm done with you. I'm looking up to where I want to go to, and I'm about to be at these spaces where these people are. I'm going to read what these people are doing. I'm going to podcast, study these podcasts of people that's doing what I want to do. I'm going to watch the YouTube. I ain't going to go watch no Bad Girls Club or what was that, little Love Island and all that shit. I'm going to go and study some Shark Tank, whatever. I don't even know what your goals or vision is, but you're finna go put yourself in a position to win right there, bro. And I kid you not, you come back a year later to me and be like, bro, I did everything you said. I promise you win. There ain't nobody in life that had it. Anybody that listen to anything, and anybody that's ever listened to anything that I said when it come down to like this, to making moves and making progress in life, ain't not one person can come back to me void. Every single person made it happen. And there ain't nobody that's ever gonna come back void. I'm gonna make sure that happens. That's my brand on it. But I promise you, if you don't take anything out of this whole thing that we just talked about, from the pain to the passion to the last piece of the first piece of the profit, take this out of it, right? It all comes out of this. 9/10 of everything is position, bro. If you stop right now and start positioning yourself for whatever it is that you want to do and wherever it is that you want to go, I promise you. And what does that look like? Break it down again. What's that look like? Cut the Bible says something up. Cut them suckers off, bro. If they ain't on what you want. Cut them shows off if they ain't on what you want. Right? Cut going to them spots where ain't nobody where you on what you want. You feel what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Start reading these different books. Not even it's only gotta just be mine. Start reading these different books that are on what you want. Right? Start tapping into these podcasts that are on what you're on. Right? Start doing everything you possibly can. Start going to these events or with people that are on what you want. Start kicking it around the individuals that are making more than you make. Double, triple to where you want to be on. Do that for a year. I kid you not. Do that for a year. If you come back to me and say it didn't work, bro, listen, man. I personally, coach, I'll give you every one of my hours. I'll stop everything I'm doing and walk with you through this stuff, bro. I guarantee you, bro. There's no way possible that it's not gonna happen. Do it for 6 months. Just do it for 6 months, right? And the purpose of it all, you know what I mean? Yes, you want the outcome, but the purpose of it all, right, is the person that you got to become to get there, right? And that, I think that's the part I want to leave you guys with, man. Is out of all this, right? While my goal is where I wanted to get to, the million's not enough, right? The millions I want to get to, it's not even just based off. I want more options. Money brings you options, right? It's a tool, right? Definitely, that's a big piece of it. But it's I said it to that height because the person I have to become to achieve that is going to be way more beneficial than what I achieve when I actually achieve it. So the person that you have to become, if you decide that you are going to actually lock in and become that, it's going to be more beneficial when you actually do. So again, man, it's been real. I appreciate you guys watching from wherever you watch. I know I got some people that's out the country that subscribe, man. Some people that in different states, some people that are local, man. And I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me. I appreciate everybody that's waiting for this long and doing everything. Big shout out to everybody on the Instagram. Love you guys, man. You know what I mean? I fully appreciate it. And I really just want you guys to tap in, go to link in bio, tap into my school community, and let's get it cracking, man. I appreciate y'all. All right.